Hello, everyone. You're very welcome today to our live Fulbright Irish Awards webinar. Welcome also to those who are viewing this webinar at a later date on our YouTube account. My name is Aoife Drynan, and I'm the Communications Officer with the Fulbright Commission in Ireland. Today, I'm presenting an overview of the 24-25 Fulbright Irish Awards, giving particular focus to our awards that apply to the broad areas of the creative arts, humanities, museum and cultural sectors. We're delighted to have you attend today. We're also very lucky to be joined today by award-winning performing artist and educator and 22 to 23 Fulbright-Creative Ireland Professional Fellowship Awardee, Edel Meade, who will be sharing her application tips and giving details about her Fulbright experience at the end of this presentation. And it will be absolutely worth hanging on to the end to hear Edel's top tips. Lastly, there will be the opportunity at the end of the webinar for questions and answers with Executive Director, Dr. Dara Fitzgerald. So please do submit any questions that you have about the awards in the Q&A box below at any point during the webinar. Some quick housekeeping. The webinar will be recorded today and uploaded to our YouTube channel. If you have any questions after this webinar, you can email awards@fulbright.ie. So, just a quick note before I begin. At the Commission, we run a program called Education USA that's supported by the US Department of State. Education USA is a portal that shares information for those who are interested in studying at undergrad or postgrad level in the USA. If you know of anyone who is looking to study in the US, you can direct them to our website at fulbright.ie/Education USA. So, the Fulbright program was named after Senator J. William Fulbright, and it was set up in 1946 as a reaction to the Second World War and the atrocities that people had committed to each other because they viewed each other not as people, but as other or different from themselves. Senator Fulbright, who had been an exchange scholar himself, took the view that the best approach to changing people's views to be more understanding of each other was to live with them and go on exchange programs to these countries and see that in reality, they are no different. He believed that education and cultural exchange was the best way to lead to mutual understanding and to peace globally. So as you can see, Ireland joined the program in 1957 and became a bilateral partnership as the Fulbright Irish Commission in 1991. By 2023, approximately 180 countries participate in the Fulbright program worldwide. With 49 commissions around the world, you can see the program has been hugely successful. The Fulbright Commission in Ireland is funded and supported by the Irish Department of Foreign Affairs and the US Department of State, and by key sponsors that I'll mention later on in the presentation. So, Fulbright is an education and cultural exchange in both directions between Ireland and the US and the US and Ireland. And we are looking for passionate and accomplished people who are engaged, want to develop their career, knowledge, and expertise, and make a contribution. The program is open to students, scholars, and professionals, depending on the award. To clarify, students are those who have completed their undergraduate degree and are considering postgraduate research at master's level. Students are also those who have started but haven't yet received a PhD. A scholar is an academic who has a PhD, or a professional, an artist, or a teacher. A professional has a minimum of 5+ years relevant experience in the area of the award they are applying for. And I want to emphasize that we are looking for and very much open to applicants from all disciplines. And I'll give more details on the all discipline awards later on. So on a Fulbright, you have the opportunity to engage in research, study, or you can teach or lecture in the USA. For scholars and professionals, you can research and lecture combined. The program also operates in the opposite direction from the USA to Ireland. So what does a Fulbright Award provide? There's a monetary grant to help you fund your research or project in the US, visa administration for going to the US, and the Commission will support you through the visa process, accident and emergency insurance, a significant amount of cultural and professional programming, pre-departure and in the US, including networking and meeting with your peers and colleagues, and cultural engagement in the US and the memories you'll make will ensure that you get the most value from your experience. You'll receive ongoing connection to the Commission in the US and in Ireland, and links to a global network of Fulbright alumni that you'll maintain throughout your lifetime. So Fulbright stands out from other programs because it can be an experience of a lifetime that lasts a lifetime. We have many alumni who remain deeply engaged in the program long after their Fulbright Award. You'll hear a lot of Fulbrighters talk about the Fulbright family, and that the Fulbright experience is not only related to the work that you do, but much more than that. It's about the engagement with your peers and colleagues in the US and back in Ireland. The award affects your family too, whether you bring your family with you on your award or when you return to them after you come home. Your experience affects your academic community and wider society more broadly. It goes without saying that this is also a prestigious program, and the Fulbright name, a lot of worldwide recognition comes with the program. You're joining a program of global peers from a range of different specialities who will engage with you from the moment you apply. It's a lifelong program, and it will open a lot of doors for you in your career. So as you can see from the images, a Fulbright Award is unique as it is about a full and rounded cultural experience as much as an educational program. There is an expectation that you'll experience the United States and all the US has to offer. It is not only about being based in the museum or lab or library or lecture hall, but being outside and experienced with people in society. And we always recommend you say yes to almost everything. So go on to the application process now. The first thing you'll need to do is to check that you're ineligible for a Fulbright Award. The Irish Awards are open to Irish citizens and EU citizens with a minimum of 5 years residency in the Republic of Ireland. If for any reason you're unable to apply through the Irish Commission, you can apply through one of the many commissions based around the world. Unique to Fulbright is that you must demonstrate a strong rationale for why you are going to the US and where you are going. What is the exchange element of what you'll bring to the US? And what will you bring home from the institution you'll attend? You'll need to explain clearly why specifically Fulbright should support you as you carry out your work. Please note there is a 2-year home rule visa requirement, meaning you'll need to return physically to Ireland for 2 years after completing your award before you can apply for another visa in the US. This doesn't preclude you from traveling to the US, but people can have difficulty with this if they have had a fantastic experience in the States and you want to stay on. But the rule is very strict, and if you have any issues with the 2-year home rule, then perhaps the Fulbright Award is not for you. You can find out more details about this on our website in the FAQ section or on the State Department's website. So you cannot be a dual Irish citizen on a Fulbright Award. You cannot be living in the US at the time of your application. You also cannot have recent extensive experience of studying or living in the US, as this will go against the Fulbright ethos of cultural exchange. So do get in touch with the Commission if for any reason you think you may be not eligible. And you can contact us at awards@fulbright.ie. So this is our timeline overview. And as you can see, applications are currently open and will close on Friday, the 27th of October at 4 p.m. Irish time. If you go to any awards page, on it you can click the link that says Start My Application. Then you'll be sent the link to the application and guidelines. Do research all the criteria on the website, as there is specific criteria for each award. Once you've submitted your application and the deadline has closed, applications will go under technical review by peers and experts in your field from both the US and Ireland from about November to December. Should you be successful, you'll be shortlisted for an interview towards the end of January, early February. This is your opportunity to talk about yourself and how you embody the Fulbright ethos. At this point, you most likely will not be speaking with experts in your field. So this is your opportunity to speak about your work with people who may not be familiar with your field, and in a way that your work can be understood. Following a successful interview, offers are typically made in March, once the Foreign Fulbright Scholarship Board have approved and made their recommendations. So the best actions for you to take now are to review the information on the website, choose an award, and hopefully this webinar will help with that. Think about finding a host institution, plan your project research proposal, research what it means to be a Fulbrighter, and this is very important. What are the Fulbright values and how do you embody these values both personally and professionally? So we encourage you to start your application on our website and our team will send you on application guidelines, and you're welcome to get in touch with us at any stage throughout the process at awards@fulbright.ie. So on screen are all the categories available for Irish applicants to go to the US on a Fulbright Award. If you are a postgraduate student involved in research, or if you seek to complete a postgraduate degree program, you can apply for a Fulbright Irish Student Award. If you already have your PhD or you have 5 or more years of more relevant professional experience, you would apply for an Irish Scholar Award. The Commission also has Tech Impact sponsored awards with an ICT focus, and Irish Foreign Language Teaching Assistantship Awards to teach Irish and take courses at a HEI in the States. We also have the Fulbright Schumann Awards that opened in December and are administered by the Belgian Commission, and you apply through a separate application that opened in September. These awards are to conduct research that specifically relates to EU-US relations and policy, typically for 9 months. There's more information about these awards on our website. So starting into the awards that could apply to you today, I mentioned the Fulbright Irish All Discipline Awards earlier. The All Discipline Awards are exactly that. They're open to applicants from all areas of study, research, and discipline, and anywhere in the US. So from artists, creatives, musicians, performers, historians, archaeologists, architects, etc., everyone can fall into this category. There's a home for your research, your study, or teaching under the All Discipline Awards. The All Discipline Awards for scholars and professionals are for applicants who have a PhD or 5 years minimum relevant professional experience. So you must establish affiliation with the US institution you wish to attend. These are for a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 12 months duration. The maximum you can receive on this award is €35,000. The All Discipline Awards for postgraduate students are for visiting researchers as part of a PhD research or degree-seeking students, meaning you can enroll in a master's or PhD program. So for these, you must establish affiliation or apply for a degree course with your intended host institution. So it's up to you to establish that connection. These are for a minimum of 4 months and a maximum of 12 months duration. And please be aware there is no funding provided for a second year. However, when you're in situ at the university, you can explore other opportunities for additional funding for your second year at your institution. A maximum you can receive for this award is €30,000. And this depends on the duration of your award and where you go in the US. And awards are calculated on a monthly maintenance rate. So you can see some of our targeted sponsor awards here, and I'll go into more detail on the sponsored awards that may apply to you now. Do check out these awards to see if any match your area of expertise. And please be aware there is a separate form for the sponsored awards that you'll receive when you are completing your online application. So these are the 24-25 sponsored awards for students that could be of interest to you on screen now. And these are the 24-25 sponsored awards for scholars and professionals that could be of interest to you. So as you can see, the awards are quite wide-ranging. So there should be an award here that appeals to everyone. So moving on to the focus of our webinar today, are awards in the creative, arts, humanities, museum, and cultural sectors. So we have Fulbright Museum Fellowship Exploratorium for students or scholars, the Fulbright Museum Fellowship Harry Ransom Center for students, the Fulbright Museum Fellowship Smithsonian for students, the Fulbright Creative Ireland Professional Fellowship Award, for those with 7 or more years relevant experience working in the creative, cultural, or heritage sectors. We also have the Fulbright National Archives Heritage Science Fellowship, the only award with the 15th of October deadline. And lastly, we have the Student, Scholar, and Professional Awards in all disciplines that I've just mentioned. So please note that each award has specific eligibility criteria, and do check these on the website. For the Museum Fellowship Awards, you must seek a letter of support from the host and include this in your Fulbright application by the deadline. So let's take a look at the Fulbright Museum Fellowship Exploratorium Award. These are museum fellowships for students or scholars from Ireland to the US for 3 months to complete short-term research. And again, they're for Irish EU citizens living in the Republic of Ireland for minimum 5 years. So the Exploratorium in San Francisco is an excellent institution, highly regarded and highly innovative. The mission of this internationally renowned museum is to create a culture of learning through innovative environments, programs, and tools that help people nurture their curiosity about the world. In addition to the eligibilities listed on our website, proposed research projects must demonstrate a commitment to innovation and creativity and include substantive community engagement. Research on informal education and learning, archival research, studying teacher training, experiments in online or digital media, or other independent research that utilizes the resources of the Exploratorium are welcome. PhD students or postdoctoral scholars are invited to apply for this excellent opportunity of Fulbright Museum Fellowship Exploratorium Award in San Francisco. We also have the Fulbright Harry Ransom Center Museum Fellowship Award that takes place in the Harry Ransom Center at the University of Texas at Austin. This is another exciting opportunity for students to study at an excellent and highly regarded institution with extensive collections that provide unique insight into the creative process of writers and artists, deepening our understanding and appreciation of literature, photography, film, art, and the performing arts. So this is a museum fellowship for students, again, Ireland to the US, for a duration of 3 months, for again, Irish EU citizens living in the Republic for a minimum of 5 years. Proposed research projects should engage substantively with the Ransom Center's collections and must demonstrate a commitment to innovation and creativity and include plans for both scholarly and community engagement. We do recommend that you consider this exciting opportunity at the Harry Ransom Center. Another fantastic targeted award opportunity that's open for applications is the Fulbright Museum Fellowship at the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian Institution is the world's largest museum, education, and research complex with 21 museums and the National Zoo, shaping the future by preserving heritage, discovering new knowledge, and sharing resources with the world. So this is a museum fellowship for students to complete short-term research at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, DC, from Ireland to the US for a duration of 6 months, again for Irish and EU citizens living in the Republic for a minimum of 5 years. Please keep in mind that proposed research projects must demonstrate an innovation, commitment to innovation and creativity and include substantive community engagement, as well as the ability to harness the transformative potential of arts, culture, creativity, scientific inquiry, and heritage preservation through the research collections. This is a student award and is not open to postdoctoral academics. In addition to eligibilities listed on our website, you must have a primary degree in arts, history, culture, science, or other relevant disciplines for this award. Applications in diverse fields are welcome. We do recommend you consider applying for the Fulbright Museum Fellowship, the Smithsonian. We also have the Fulbright National Archives Heritage Science Fellowship Award that's open for applications. These are for professionals and advanced doctoral researchers. Please note the deadline for this award is 15th of October, the only award with this deadline. This award is an opportunity to connect with the National Archives and Record Administration scientists and experts while conducting research at the National Archives and Record Administration's Heritage Science Research and Testing Lab in College Park, Maryland. The award was established to support archival science, education, conservation, and research. As you know, heritage science is an interdisciplinary field spanning the humanities and sciences. It focuses on enhancing the care, use, and management of cultural and historic objects using the tools and technology of math, science, and engineering disciplines. The humanities and sciences are your background. Please consider applying to this exciting opportunity. So I'm sure the Fulbright Creative Ireland Professional Fellowship Award will keep the interest of our attendees today. This award is in partnership with one of our key sponsors, Creative Ireland. We'll also shortly hear from Edel Meade, our 22-23 Fulbright Creative Ireland Professional Fellowship Awardee. So this is a professional fellowship, again, from Ireland to the US, for a duration of 3 to 6 months, and for Irish or EU citizens living in the Republic of Ireland for a minimum of 5 years. This award is for professionals with at least 7 years experience working in the creative, cultural, or heritage sector. No PhD is required for this award. Candidates can select their preferred US host institution and must have the capacity to spend a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 6 months in the USA. In addition to the eligibilities listed, you must demonstrate your rationale for undertaking your project in the US. It should make sense to you as to why you would go to your selected institution in the US. As with all of our awards, you must have a clear understanding of what it means to be a Fulbrighter, and preference will be given to those who do not already have extensive experience in the US. So this section of the webinar is really to highlight the Fulbright awardees who have achieved awards in areas of creative arts, humanities, museum, and cultural sectors. You'll of course have heard of Alice Marr and Brian Maguire, great artists. And here we have a further list of Fulbright awardees. And please note the wide array of backgrounds and specialties of Fulbright awardees on this list, spanning from creative writing, drinks researchers, playwrights, visual arts, dance, creative practice, archives, art history, archaeology, public engagement, museum studies, music, the list goes on. And just for your interest, the Irish Museum of Modern Art and the Hugh Lane Gallery have for many years been hosting US scholars who want to come to Ireland to study. So let's discuss application requirements. As you well know, the awards are currently open with the deadline of Friday, the 27th of October, 2023 at 4 p.m. Irish time sharp. All applications are made through the online application system. When you register your interest, the email you'll receive from the Commission will contain the link to start your application. I'd encourage you to do this as soon as possible so you can familiarize yourself with the application form and what's required. You'll submit your personal information and upload your CV. Submit your Fulbright statement or personal statement, which is a unique document to the Fulbright program. You'll also submit your project statement. You'll also submit 3 recommenders from your professional network. And we encourage you to register your three referees as soon as possible, as they have the same deadline as you do for submission of your application. Any referees missing by the deadline and your application will be deemed ineligible. You also submit your copy of your passport and samples of your work if you're an artist. You can give online access or hard copies of your work or portfolios. You'll also submit a letter of affiliation for researchers or scholars, which is a letter from the institution in the US stating that they wish to collaborate with you. If you're planning to apply for the All Discipline Awards, it is up to you to decide where you want to go. We do ask that applicants keep an open mind about the host institutions in the US that they are applying to. Please bear in mind that the Commission welcomes diversity and is always keen to set up new links with new institutions. Do consider host institutions across all parts of the United States. Fulbright is not just an exchange between the big name universities and institutions. It's an opportunity to seek out anywhere groundbreaking work is taking place among experts in your field, even in locations that may be off the beaten track. This is a space where cultural exchange is really needed. One way to go about identifying your host that we recommend is by talking to a Fulbright alumni, both on the Irish and the US side. You could look to where the experts in your specific area are based in the US. You can also talk to your colleagues and lecturers to get into the detail of where there is a need and where your research makes sense to fit. Please see the hints on this slide as they are particularly useful. After you've found your host, you'll prepare your application. Again, think about the specific rationale for why the Fulbright program and not another funding body. What is the aspect of cultural exchange that you are going to bring something extra to and take something back with you? What is innovative about your research? Clearly set out your rationale for going to the US, explain your objectives and expected results. What impact will this have on your discipline? And don't forget, the impact from your work will go beyond your time spent in the museum gallery or library. It will go on to impact your professional discipline and your wider community. The Fulbright statement is a unique piece of the application process. This is not the place to rehash your project statement or your CV, but this is to hear about you as a person who can embody the Fulbright ethos for your award and your understanding of the Fulbright program. Here you talk about both your personal and professional motivations and ambitions, and also your interests and your hobbies. You talk about what you hope to achieve, again, not just in your research objectives, but also in your objectives as a cultural ambassador, as someone traveling somewhere in the spirit of Senator Fulbright to learn about another culture and to share your own culture. Here you discuss the benefit of what that means to you and the wider community. What's a benefit for you and for Fulbright of you receiving a Fulbright Award. So it's not really the place to rehash your study objective, essay, or your CV, your statement. Once you've submitted your application, it goes to the review stage and, if successful, onto the interview stage. As you can see on screen, at the review stage, all aspects of your application will be reviewed with a large part weighted on your academic record and project statement. Whereas at the interview stage, this is reversed. Here we want to hear about your cultural engagement and leadership skills. It's very much about who you are as a person and less about your academic or professional record at the interview stage. Diversity is important and brings a richness to the programme, and the Commission encourages applications from people from diverse backgrounds to all its schemes, programmes and activities. We welcome candidates from underrepresented backgrounds, areas, communities and higher education institutions. And when you become part of the Fulbright family, we encourage you to engage with Fulbright groups where you can express all the aspects that make you, you. There are lots of resources available to help with your Fulbright application. Fulbright ambassadors are located at almost every major higher education institute in the country, and they're a hugely valuable resource. The details are on our website, and we do recommend that you reach out to them as well as to our alumni. We also have alumni videos and testimonials. We have many online webinars like today on our YouTube, where Q&A sessions are a huge help to applicants. We have Fulbright events and roadshows, and you can also reach out and get support at your own higher education institution. Or you can follow Fulbright affiliate groups. Before I finish up, we do administer one award for undergraduate students on behalf of the US Department of State. This award is the study of the US Institutes for European Student Leaders. It's for highly motivated first to third year undergraduate students to attend a 5-week academic program to Michigan State University. So if you know of an undergrad who is interested, Applications will open shortly, and they can keep an eye on our website for further details. So I'll leave you with some of these important stats. 90% of successful awardees have attended a Fulbright Roadshow or a webinar. So you are already ahead of the curve by being here today. 50% of those who started but did not complete an application did not engage with any supports like these webinars or reach out with Fulbright alumni. So do make use of these resources to ensure your success. There are no downsides in applying for an award. Please do not self-reject. The application process is a worthwhile personal and professional exercise that will stand to you in your career. It's only time well spent. And we love to encourage repeat applicants. If for any reason you don't make it through an award cycle, we do encourage you to apply again. You are pushing an open door in the US. The Fulbright name carries weight and will open doors for you in your career. And lastly, you are joining a Fulbright family, an alumni network, a global community, and making lifelong friends. So you can see some of the next steps on your screen now. Next, you would select a host institution, reach out to recommenders, research the Fulbright ethos, and importantly, talk to a Fulbrighter. Follow us across our social media. And again, if you have any further queries, email awards@fulbright.ie. At this point, I'm delighted to welcome award-winning performing artist and educator and 22 to 23 Fulbright-Creative Ireland Professional Fellowship Awardee, Edel Meade, to join us. Edel, you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself at this point.
Thanks, Aoife. Yeah, I'm good to go ahead. Yeah.
Perfect.
Lovely. Hi everybody, it's great to be here today. So I spent the first 6 months of the year in Berkeley, California. I got back at the end of June, and I was based at my host institution, the California Jazz Conservatory. It's a small institution, but it's the only institution in the US that's solely dedicated to jazz and related styles. So they offer a degree program in jazz studies, a master's program, and then a whole range of related community music workshops and courses for the greater Bay Area community. I had an absolutely incredible experience. It exceeded my expectations hugely. Not only had I access to the arts scene in Berkeley, but also to the whole San Francisco area, because it was just a 30-minute train ride away on the BART. So had access to Oakland and yeah, all of San Francisco really. One of the highlights for me was the friends that I made, Black musicians, and just having access to well, what happened was I was taking a course in singing the blues, and I became very good friends with the teacher, Rhonda Benin, who is a renowned Bay Area vocalist working in soul, jazz, funk, and she could see that I was very passionate about jazz and blues, and she used to invite me along to some of her gigs, and then would invite me to sit in with the musicians. So in other words, I would get to perform with her band on stage. And as part of this class as well, some of the women in the class would have invited me along to attend Baptist church with them on Sundays. So I got to go along. I wouldn't have known about these churches in Oakland, because some of them are in, more harder to get areas, and I went along, and to hear, I suppose, the origins of jazz and blues, because I heard things in the church that I would have only heard, through my studies of jazz. That was an incredible insight. I'm just seeing the photos here. Aoife, thanks a million. Yes, so this is San Francisco. The photo in the Castro there, that was when I went to see the premiere of a Joan Baez new documentary that was part of the San Francisco International Film Festival. And as it happens, I actually got to meet Joan Baez, you know, one of the most iconic singer-songwriters of the past 100 years after the event, because Kate, who is here beside me, is friends with her Joan Baez's son is friends with Kate's musician friend, so we got to go to the after party, which was across the street afterwards. And then the other photos here, this is North Beach in San Francisco, an area that I loved, really associated with the beatnik scene back in the 50s. And underneath there, this is a day when I was at UC Berkeley. I presented a guest lecture based on the other world in the Irish song tradition. So even though my host institution was the California Jazz Conservatory, I reached out to other institutions which I felt were a good fit with my area of expertise. So I was thrilled to present the guest lecture to students on the Irish Studies and Celtic Studies programme. And similarly, I was invited to present a full-length concert performance for this same group on St. Bridget's Day, which was a lovely event last year. And then we see the cable car in the corner there. And next slide, please, Aoife. So yeah, that was just one of my earlier days. I think that was maybe in late January or early February. Funnily enough, the weather in San Francisco and the Bay Area was just like being in Ireland. The first few months, apparently it was the wettest winter that they'd had since the 1800s, but I was well used to it. And then I am there in Muir Woods, the beautiful redwoods. Yeah, there was just so many incredible opportunities. With regards to your application, I would say think about what would you really like to do, because the sky's the limit when it comes to Fulbright. And you know, your research topics should be something that you're really passionate about, that you might not have the opportunity to pursue unless you were to go to the US to do it. And that's certainly the approach I took. I was exploring what it means to be a contemporary jazz vocalist from Ireland, and exploring the intersection between traditional Irish music and song and jazz and blues. And as a result of this, I had so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had back home. Down at the bottom there, these were the students on my course. I taught a 10-week course in traditional Irish singing, a journey of Ireland through song. And all of these people, they were, you know, for the student showcase, they were singing songs as Gaeilge, having memorized the lyrics, which was really lovely. The other two photos there, that's me, that's the musicians that I was performing with at the jazz school at the end of another community school course I was taking. So with them, I performed I performed an original song of mine, which is related to Biddy Early, the wise woman or Banfassa from County Clare, but with a jazz interpretation. And I also performed a spoken word piece, a beautiful poem by Darina Ní Chéineadha from the Dingle Peninsula, and gave it a sort of a jazz spoken word treatment that would have been, you know, very common in the 1950s San Francisco beatnik scene. So with regards to choosing my host institution, for me it was pretty straightforward, because I had actually attended a week-long course at the California Jazz Conservatory in 2015. It was fantastic. I got on really well with the lady who was running the course, Laurie Antonioli, who then became my mentor during my Fulbright. I had initially wondered, would I go West Coast or East Coast, and I sent a provisional email to Laurie, in Berkeley, and also emailed a couple of music schools on the East Coast. And straight away, it was completely clear that Laurie was, let's talk, let's have a Zoom meeting. She was really on board, and I knew she was so well connected in the Bay Area. She had also studied with one of my all-time favorite jazz vocalists herself. So I just, my gut said to go with it, and that's what I did. So here we see another couple of pictures. This was in Yosemite with another Fulbright colleague, Dr. Angie Butler. We do an amazing time in Yosemite, and there by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Fulbright has hugely impacted my career already. So as I mentioned, when I was in San Francisco, I was getting all these invitations to present guest lectures and concerts, and the guest lectures were relating to my passion for Irish folklore and mythology, and the Irish song tradition. And there was just such an appetite for it that I hadn't anticipated in advance. So I am thinking about writing a book related to these themes. It just seems like the natural next step. Also on the left there, we see Eamon Flynn, a wonderful piano player who I met in San Francisco. We collaborated, we had a few jams during my time there. And then as soon as I got back to Ireland, within a week, Eamon came over and we performed at the Clonmel Junction Arts Festival, a world premiere of a new project, which is all exactly about bringing jazz, blues and sean-nós together. There's been a lot of interest in this project. I was interviewed on Arena with Sean Rocks within actually the day that I arrived back from San Francisco. So I flew in and straight out to the RTE studios. Down below there we see a photo with myself and Rhonda Benin, who I mentioned earlier, and other students in the class. And then over here, another photo of me in the United Irish Cultural Centre. They have a wonderful library there of first edition books, and they were really, really welcoming. So I would just strongly encourage everyone who's thinking about applying for a Fulbright to take the opportunity. As I said, the sky's the limit. There are no downsides in doing the application. Here we see myself with two fellow Fulbright colleagues, Dr. John Gilmore and Dr. Angie Butler. Again, this was just very recently up in Dublin, and we happened to be over there at the same time, and it was really lovely to connect with them over there, to hear about their experience and to connect again in Ireland. So it was just an absolutely fantastic experience. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. And I'm very happy to answer any questions during the Q&A if there's anything that anyone would like to ask specifically.
Thanks so much, Edel. We're very grateful that you joined us today. I'd love to encourage any attendees on the line to submit their questions. We have Executive Director Dara Fitzgerald, Edel Meade and myself. If you'd like to pop them in the Q&A box below, this is your chance. This is your opportunity to get your questions answered live. I see one has come in there now. Dara, if you want to.
I'm just beginning to read that. Before I come to answer that, then I just a couple of comments I wanted to make myself. And first of all is that the system you will apply through, it's a US SLATE system. It's called SLATE, and it's really one size fits all. And, there is to some extent an academic focus on it. And we're very conscious that some of the people applying here won't necessarily be from the same level of academia, or that the professional road has been a little bit different. In terms of the system, I would say put the information you can into the boxes that they're asked for. If you don't have anything to say, don't put it in there. But if you have additional information that you're not sure where the box is, use the written areas to fill that in. So your personal statement, your Fulbright statement, your project statement, put the components in there. They will be picked up. Your peers will know what to look for. Their peers in your area, so they will understand that really it's a system built for a global program. So don't be afraid of that. Do fill in your information. It is possible for us to review them, and we are looking with a slightly different view for people who will apply for these types of awards. So it's a good opportunity for you to still put in any of the information that you feel you need to do, and the other part is just a little bit akin to that is diversity is very important to us as well. So how you got to where you are now and where you want to go to, that's very important. It's increasingly been important to Fulbright. We're building a diversity of Fulbrighters, and I think if you have an opportunity to look through, Fulbrighters over the years, you see that that's absolutely the case. I should say in terms of Edel, she did a fantastic job. She really engaged. She took exactly the right right attitude and took the opportunities to go and do it. And I think the pictures she showed here are really just a subset of a much bigger a group of pictures. I certainly saw a lot of her social media over the period when she was in the States, you know, and I was very impressed with the job that she did to, you know, say yes to almost everything and fully engage and make the most of it. And as a result, she had the time that we hope Fulbrighters will have, and many, many do. Many do have that. So just coming back then to quickly look at the question, is feedback provided to unsuccessful applicants? At a review stage, yes, we have some basic feedback. If you make it to interview stage, we provide a little bit more information just to guide you along. I will say in terms of your application, one of the reasons that people either aren't successful or don't actually finalize their application is because, one, it's not the right time. They haven't had or given themselves enough time to really think about everything they want to do. And as Edel said, you're really planning for something a little bit, you know, that's special for you. So take that time and opportunity. If it turns out that it's not for this year, there's no shame in that. It's, in fact, going through the process of identifying that it's not the correct time is something very useful to you. The other thing is that if you're not successful, you probably have pushed open the door in the States anyway. So you might be able to continue with that. And Aoife's already said, you know, many Fulbrighters will reapply. They haven't quite rounded off what they wanted to do the first time. They understand it themselves. The feedback will maybe give you the guidance, but I typically find most people know what is the feedback is going to say. You already kind of know that. And sometimes because it went in at last minute, you haven't given yourself the full opportunity. And I think one of our more recent webinars, one of the awardees who had been successful the second time around said they absolutely knew themselves that they didn't put in the application they should have. And they learned so much from it. And when they came back again, they did very well. But I'm not saying that people won't do that, but just so you understand that there is a good opportunity to do that. Now, a question here. I'm looking to visit an archive that deals with materials relating to hip hop, and I work on an interdisciplinary project in Irish rap music. We need to put together a bibliography. Should I split this into two sections? Archival materials I want to explore in the archive, and then secondary works. Edel, you might be the best to answer that, actually. My view is that people should just put in what absolutely makes sense for if you put yourself in the seat of the reviewer. But Edel, you might have something specific on that.
I think when I was doing the application, I very much had to make it work for me. So as a professional artist, I wouldn't be engaging with academic texts in the same way some of my artistic colleagues in academia would. So I didn't include any bibliography as far as I remember. It was much more a practical explanation of how I would go about my research. But yeah, it really depends on what works for you. I mean, certainly you could do both, but I would encourage you to do, you know, what feels appropriate for you.
Yeah, thanks, Edel. And maybe consider what would be appropriate for somebody who had to review the information you're providing. If you step into their shoes, I think you probably get a good idea for what's the most useful information. Okay, and just scrolling down. Yes, so somebody asking the question about the host institution, what should they provide, workspace, etc., mentorship. Again, you know, it's easy for us to say, but it really comes down to what makes sense for you, what you will need there. And that's something we say for everybody applying for an award is the award should really, really make sense to you, because you won't be able to convince or put the case across to the reviewers and to Fulbright and all that if it doesn't first make sense to you. So if it makes sense, your reviewers will understand that this makes sense. So consider that. But certainly you should be able to do the job you want to do in the States, and they should upfront have advised you that they will support you, because otherwise you're in the position of having potentially won a Fulbright Award but not being able to go and get the experience that you need, or spending your whole time fighting for something that really should have been set out from the offset. So I think, you know, don't be afraid to ask for what you need. If you don't do that, you run the risk of actually severely limiting your experience there. So there's another question about artists and designers that have a PhD Can you share the name of the Fulbright program they can best apply to? Well, Aoife mentioned most of the programs there. The all disciplines you can, so 5 to 7 years professional relevant experience is yes. I mean, in that situation, yes. Again, your peers will best understand that, so they will be looking in and making some commentary on that. From a top level view, I would say yes, that would be appropriate. So any of the scholar awards, except where it might say in a specific award that you have to have a master's or a PhD, but I think in this case it almost doesn't apply to most of the scholar-based awards. So the all disciplines and the other ones, you can certainly consider yourself eligible for that. But please do look at the fine detail. What kind of evidence can be considered instead of a bibliography? Well, I think Edel probably answered that already. Yes, does the 35,000 for the student Fulbright cover tuition fees, or is it to support student living costs? Mainly, we hope that it supports student living costs, that the institution will be able to waive aside if you're applying for a master's degree, but sometimes that's not going to be the case. So if it's going to be a very expensive course, you'll have to consider what other funding you can leverage, either your own or from another group. That's sadly going to be a potential outcome, particularly if you're applying for a very expensive course. But there's also potential that they might actually waive those fees if you're coming through as a Fulbright. And we're certainly happy, if you're successful, to work with you and reach out and see, can we help you leverage potential funding? Can't guarantee, but sometimes the Fulbright name does carry weight that. Somebody's wondering about applying for the Creative Ireland Award and then for the All Disciplines Award. No, I mean, we will consider you for both effectively. But again, you will be in the All Disciplines, just to note, you won't be necessarily just up against people in the creative space, but you will be up against people from all disciplines. You know, that has strengths, there's pluses and minuses for that. But certainly you will be considered on that. Again, ultimately, we're very focused on you as a person and a Fulbrighter. We're actually reasonably agnostic about the discipline that you represent. I think I answered about the feedback provided to unsuccessful applicants. Yes, it is at different levels. Okay, we've actually answered all of the questions there. So thank you everybody for putting them in. Hopefully you have gotten the impetus, if not from us, and thanks Aoife for a great explanation of particularly of the individual awards, and thanks Edel for just proving why you should do this, why it's absolutely something you should aim for. As Aoife had said earlier, there really are no downsides on this. It's purely your time, and it's time very well spent, because irrespective of whether you're successful or not, you will learn a lot for what you want to do. It's quite an unusual application experience for that. If you've applied a previous year, do I start a new application? Yes, you do. So thank you very much. Aoife, have you anything final to sign off? I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Dara. Thanks to all of our attendees today. I think we have one more question that just came in. Can you please share if the host institution can be an arts organization, or is it possible to engage with an arts organization?
The shortest answer I can give is yes. If you have any real specific queries about that, because obviously without knowing, you could certainly reach out to awards@fulbright.ie and ask that question. So if you have a very specific location, I would imagine the answer is probably going to be yes, but we'd be happy to verify that.
Great. So it's up to me to say huge thanks to Edel Meade for joining us today. Edel, we're very, very grateful. To Executive Director Dara Fitzgerald for fielding our Q&A, and to all of our viewers for joining us today. We do have one final upcoming completing your application Q&A webinar. That's on the 11th of October, and the team will be not presenting but answering any of your remaining application queries on that webinar. So do register at fulbright.ie/events for that. Again, the Fulbright Irish Awards close on Friday, the 27th of October, 2023 at 4 p.m. Irish Standard Time sharp. We do encourage you to get going on your applications. Very best of luck. And if you have any more questions, you can email them to awards@fulbright.ie. Thanks very much for joining us today. Bye now.